Hey, fellow space aliens, this is Sean with the CubeCast. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about our huge disappointment of an Attorney General, William Barr. And I'm going to give you some reasons why I think that William Barr was installed not as the savior to the Republic, but actually as a deep state operative that was installed purposely to protect the deep state and the criminals and corrupt officials inside the Department of Justice and the various other three-letter agencies. But before I get into Barr, I wanted to talk about this announcement from the DOJ. It happened on Friday. And basically what happened was that the Department of Justice announced they were dropping all investigations into Andrew McCabe. And Andrew McCabe is the disgraced ex-FBI official that kind of helped foment this deep state coup against the president. He was overseeing a bunch of corrupt FBI officials that were plotting against the president, that were trying to install insurance policies in case he got elected, they could get him out, as well as other, a bunch of other various crimes that were being perpetrated by the people over at the FBI. So the Inspector General recently did an investigation of some of the corruption that was going on over at the FBI, and come to find out, good old Andy McCabe got caught lying under oath at least 3 times that have been documented in the IG report. Now, obviously, we know it's a whole bunch more than 3 times, but 3 is good enough, right? So the Inspector General made a criminal referral for Andrew McCabe, passed it over to William Barr. Well, in William Barr's ultimate wisdom, he's decided that, well, he's just going to call it a day. No harm, no foul. 2-tiered justice system. Andrew McCabe, he doesn't need to answer for any of the crimes that we know he committed, that he admitted that he committed. The same crimes that Trump associates have been prosecuted for doing far less. Right now, you've got Trump associates who are being threatened with basically life in prison for doing less than Andrew McCabe did, as we saw in the case of Roger Stone. They just recommended 9 years for the horrific crime of not being candid with the royalty over in Congress. This is a Congress that has a 9% approval rating that cannot open their mouths without lying on a daily basis. They want to give Roger Stone life in prison for that, if you can believe that. So William Barr declined to prosecute his buddy over there at the FBI. And this whole announcement from the DOJ was a pretext to this interview that William Barr did the day before, which was Thursday. And he did an interview with an ABC News reporter. And the purpose of the interview was obviously to do damage control, due to the fact that they were going to be announcing that Andy McCabe was going to be cleared of all this wrongdoing the following day. So on Thursday, chicken shit William Barr got up on ABC News and rebuked the president, started boo-hooing and crying that he was unable to do his job because Trump was tweeting about the DOJ and the corruption over there, and he was tweeting about corrupt FBI officials, and he was tweeting about the corrupt judge on the Roger Stone case, and the fact that they were overcharging Stone and basically trying to give him a life sentence for a crime that really hasn't even been determined yet. In the Roger Stone case, there was still a little gray area there with Roger Stone. So, poor William Barr said it was impossible to do his job while Trump was criticizing him. So, William Barr really he tipped his hat. He showed us the cards that he's playing with. He showed us his hand. We know that he's not working for the American people. He has no interest in seeing justice or prosecuting the people that tried to remove the president, the people that lied, the people that fabricated evidence, the people that lied to the FISA court, the people that farmed out spying to hostile foreign powers so that they could avoid the constitutional restrictions that we have here, including people over in the CIA. He's not interested in any of that. And that's why I say that William Barr, he's a deep state operative. I think he was installed for that purpose. I think that he cozied up to Trump to get the job, that he was dishonest with Trump when he got the job. And I also think that Trump had some little birdies whispering in his ear, telling him that William Barr was going to be a great pick for the AG job, and that he was going to help Trump drain the swamp, and that he was going to help him go after all these people that we know committed crimes, that were involved in this deep state coup. And I think that, unfortunately, as the case was with Jeff Sessions, Trump fell for it. And now that Barr has kind of backed Trump into a corner with this interview and this announcement on Friday, Trump is really stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he removes Barr right now, he's going to be made out to be a bad guy in the press. The lunatics on the left are going to demand that he's impeached again, or they're going to launch some sort of bogus investigations because they're going to paint it as political retribution or revenge against Barr for announcing that McCabe is not going to be investigated anymore or prosecuted, and that this chicken shit interview that he did with ABC News the other day, they're going to look at it as revenge for that. And Barr knows that. This is not a dumb man. He knows he's got Trump backed into a corner now. So I would imagine that Barr is going to go ahead and run out the clock on Trump at least until November, if he makes it that long. And I would imagine that if Trump is reelected in November, that you're going to see William Barr submit his resignation in no short order, really shortly after Trump's reelection. And if he does, it's no harm, no foul with Barr. He will have accomplished his mission, which is to protect his own, to protect the deep state, until they can install the next attorney general, who I'm sure they have lined up already, because they know Barr's not going to be in there forever. And as soon as they catch wind that Barr's going to be out, they are going to start cozying up to Trump again, just like they did before, I would imagine. And they're going to start whispering in his ear again, like they did before, I'm sure, and trying to convince him that this new guy is the guy that he needs to put in there to clean up the corruption, drain the swamp, go after the people that tried to oust him, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm hoping Trump doesn't fall for it again, because right now he's 2-0 with Jeff Sessions and then Attorney General Barr. This is not Trump's fault. He is surrounded by reptiles in Washington. He's surrounded by evil people that he can't trust. He can trust his family and his close friends, but he can't install his family and his close friends in every position in his cabinet. At some point, Trump has to rely on advice from people around him, and unfortunately, Washington is full of swamp creatures, evil people who are giving the president very evil advice for their own, because they have their own agenda. Okay, Trump's a disruptor. He's disrupted their way of life. They don't like him. They want to go back to the era of Obama and Clinton and Bush, when they could operate corruptly and with no oversight and without impunity. Trump disrupted that. They're not happy with it. They're gritting their teeth until he's gone. But as long as he's in there, they're going to try to keep people close to him that are not going to let him do any damage. And that's what I see in William Barr. I see a guy that was installed to make sure that Trump didn't do too much damage to the order before they can get him out of there. Whether that be in November or whether that be in another 4.5 years from now remains to be seen. But either way, the swamp creatures they're embedded. They're out there. We've got, there's 1,000 James Comeys. There's 1,000 Andy McCabes. There's 1,000 Lieutenant Colonel Vindmans embedded and littered in the bureaucracy across all these government agencies. And it's gonna take more than 4 years to get these reptiles out of there. I think it's going to take an act of God to get these reptiles out of there. But Godspeed to that. Thanks for watching.